Hi, welcome back to Real Sisters Real Talk. I'm Jody, and I just wanted to hop on again and let you know we're going to replay one more episode of anxiety in the holidays. Just as we enter into this holiday season, we just felt like it was a good revisit to have. Shawna is still in Australia, spending time with her new grandson and also loving on her granddaughter. And so we want to just give her time to do that. One thing I did want to say about last week's episode is I had talked about wanting to pick a book that I was going to read every year with my grandchildren. And last year I did pick that book and I got to read that with our granddaughter. This year I get to add our grandson into that. But the book that I chose is called The Three Trees. It's and then it says a traditional folk tale, and it's retold by Angela Elwell Hunt. It's a great story about these three tall trees that get repurposed um, within kind of what their heart's desire was. And so it's just a great pointing to Christ in the holiday season. And so that will be our holiday Christmas book that I'll bring out every year. Just wanted to share that with you. We hope you enjoy this revisit of anxiety in the holidays. Hey there, welcome back to Real Sisters Real Talk. I'm Jody, and here with my sister Shawna, we're excited to be joining you again this week. We love doing this. Just as Shawna and I were getting ready to start recording, we were truly talking about how busy our schedules are right now. Both of us have retreats that we're speaking at, and just lots of things coming up. And a lot of it, honestly, for me, is to do with work. But also life. Like we're coming up on the holidays, and so there's planning of having people over, and there's some events coming up and some things like that. And so it just feels a little bit chaotic right now. And I know that's part of the season, but I also, there's also this kind of pace of life that we run at. And so I'm trying to be really mindful of that. But at the same time, at this moment, I don't know how to kind of get off that crazy cycle. So, and sister, you're feeling the same thing, right?
Yeah, it's so real. Yeah, I've got work things. We have holiday things for work, like you do for your work. You're in ministry. I'm in ministry. We're hosting a concert. Rebecca St. James is coming to town. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. So lots of things, right? But my schedule is so crazy. I had somebody on Sunday that I just connected with, and we've talked on Sunday mornings before, but never spent time outside of the church context. And so we were talking about how cool it would be just to get a cup of coffee. And so she punched her number into my phone. And later that day, I said, okay, I know this sounds crazy. And I'm truly not trying to just kick the can down the road. But the first thing I have available would be the 29th or the 30th of October. Do either of those days work for you? And she responded back and she said, my first available is November 21.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm like, well, my kids are coming to town on November 23rd, so I won't be available until, you know what I mean? Like December, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, seriously, this is
to get coffee.
Yeah, to grab a cup of coffee with a girlfriend. So this is a crazy time.
I legit had that conversation at church today. There's somebody that I am just walking with and mentoring, love her, enjoy spending time with her. And we haven't met for like the last 6 weeks. And I saw her today. I said, we will get something on the calendar. And she's like, we'll talk after the retreat. Like,
yeah,
and that's literally how I feel right now. Like it's going to be November. I'm trying to schedule another meeting with somebody, and it's November. I don't know how else to make it work. And it's just a little chaotic. And
it is. So we
Mm-hmm.
do have a whole episode. Go ahead, Jones.
Yeah. I was going to say, it doesn't mean it's not fun things. It can be fun things and it's still busy, but go ahead.
We have a whole episode about slowing yourself down over the holidays, and maybe Jody and I need to pull that back up and listen to it. But we'd love to talk today just a little bit about anxiety connected to the holidays. And I think I've shared this, I'm sure I have shared this here before, but anxiety is a bit of a part of my story. And I've dealt with anxiety pretty much for as long as I can remember. I think it peaked pretty well when I was in my 20s, like late 20s. I had, some of the worst of it. And so the good news right out the bat, I'll share this with you as encouragement before we even dive in, is the more I have learned to abide with Jesus, and by abide with Jesus, I mean recognize that he's right here, right now, and that he's present with me, the less I worry, like the less I'm anxious. And I'm not saying that I'm not anxious. I'm just saying a lot of my worry has stemmed from thinking about my circumstances, but not thinking about God in the midst of those circumstances. So anytime I think about how something's going to go down and I don't work Jesus into the equation, I have a tendency to freak out or get
Okay,
anxious.
so Max Lucado has a famous quote, and he says, we become anxious when we feel like we have lost our perceived control.
Mm.
Not control, because we
Yeah.
actually don't have control. But isn't that kind of what you were saying? It's like when things feel chaotic, when we feel like we're out of control, we don't have our eyes on Jesus. He's the one in control.
Mm-hmm.
When we put our eyes on him, the reason we feel at peace is because we're putting our eyes on the one who is peace.
Right. He's the Prince of Peace. And so when we recognize peace in our midst, right, then we get to be recipients of that peace. We get to live in that peace. And also he's sovereign and he's got all things under his control. So the stuff that I can't control, I can trust him with. And the right here, right now reality of God is never going to go away. So he's always going to be with you right here, right now. So that helps me when I look forward and my mind starts to kind of picture a future that he's not a part of that specific moment. And I start to freak out.
Yep. Yep. So anxiety can come at us, can be caused by things from all kinds of different directions. So one of the things we just talked about was a busy schedule.
Mm-hmm.
So that can make us anxious. Like right now I'm working on a teaching, and I legit need to have it in a couple of days. It needs to be nailed down. And I, like, every time somebody asks me, how are you doing? And I'm like, ish, it's done ish. Like it's almost there. And and it's something I'm praying into, and it's like, Lord,
Yeah.
the clock is ticking. Can we just nail this down? But I feel like I'm coming at it from every direction. And so that can create anxiety. That can be the thing that wakes me up at 3 o'clock in the morning. And then I
Right.
can't settle my mind because I'm starting to spiral in that. And so it can be that there's just things that are busy. And it could be from overcommitment. The retreat, I don't think, is overcommitment. It's just, it's busy, and it's, there's things kind of stacked up behind it, which is busy. But so it can come from just busyness.
Mm-hmm.
That can be a place where anxiety comes in. But I think there's lots of places that it can come from different directions. So, I mean, we could have anxiety around the holidays because there's people that are difficult to be around, and we know we're going to be around those people.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. 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 And yes. And, we want, so one of the things, I'm going to go back in time a little bit if I can. When we lived in Iowa and the kids were little and we would travel home back to California for the holidays, one of the things, I was so excited to see everybody and to be with family. But one of the things that made me anxious is that God had been growing me and changing me and working on my heart, just like he was everybody else who was back in California, right? But I felt like in some ways when I came back to California, there was an expectation that I would be who I was when I left. And that made me feel anxious, and these are people that I love. These are people that are difficult to be with. Yeah. Like these are my peeps. Like these are the people I want to be with and love. But it was a wrestling for me. Like, God, help me to maintain who I am today in the midst of kind of almost like a gravitational pull to who I was.
Right. So the family of origin, I think it's so interesting that as adults, when we get with our family of origin, we tend to go back to who we were as a child. Like we have a role that we played for all these years growing up. And so even as adults, it's easy to step into that role. And so I totally get that could create anxiety. It's like, no, I'm a new person. I am growing. You haven't seen that.
Right.
And so I'm going to have to figure out how to be who I am in the midst of you wanting to be who I was. That can create anxiety.
Right. And I'm the baby and it's like, but I'm 54. So, you know what I mean?
I've outgrown that.
Yeah. So there's that. And that's like in the midst of good circumstances, but there's
Yeah.
definitely circles that are harder for me to be
Yep.
in, and knowing that the holiday is going to create moments where some difficult circles, I'm going to be in some difficult circles. It conjures up like, God, I so want to be who you have created me to be in those circles. So, that can be anxiety inducing itself too.
Yep. So just something as I was kind of thinking through this, something that I would say really helps me if I have a situation where I'm going into a group of people where I know maybe somebody in the room, you know, I'm not their favorite person. Like I rubbed them wrong or something. I don't know. But if there's something where I feel insecure in a relationship as somebody's going to be there, if I pray for that person the weeks leading up to that encounter, I go in, we can walk into that scenario, whether it's walking into a family situation or an event or whatever it is, we can go into that with all of our stuff that we've
Mm-hmm.
worked through in our head. They're going to say this, or they think this, or they've thought this before, or this. And then I'm misreading everything that's done as if it's through that lens, because that's the lens I've created. Where if I'm praying for that person, God changes my lens.
So good. This happened to me today. It's so funny that you would mention this, because literally I'm going to be super vague intentionally so that I don't
Yeah.
so I don't make the
Yeah.
relationship worse than what it is right now. But just a challenging personality. And I was driving to the context where we were all going to be together. And I was like, Lord, would you just like give me your love and help me to see what you see, in that person. And then later in, after a few hours of being together or whatever, there was a point at which I was kind of feeling like, oh, I got to point out that behavior that's not okay. And then I was like, Lord, I asked you to give me your love for that person today. I was reminded of my own prayer. God was reminding me of that,
Yeah.
and was able to just like kind of back myself off the ledge and not have to address the situation. At least not then. It's not that I felt like the situation doesn't have to be addressed at all. I just felt like that does not need to happen now. And if you want it to happen, Lord, let me know. And, we'll walk into that in your perfect timing. So,
Absolutely. But right now you can trust him with it.
yeah.
I think it also to just simply pray the prayer, God, would you give me your eyes to see this person? Because God sees them truly through who they are. And so often when somebody um, either lashes out at you or acts inappropriately in some way, it's often out of their own insecurities. I mean, I know when I say things that I wish I didn't say, it's truly out of my own insecurities
Right.
that I say those things. And so that's often true about the other people as well. And so if we ask God to give us eyes to see that person through his eyes, then we get kind of insight into that. And so
Mm-hmm.
instead of being offended by what is said or a way that we're treated, we actually have tenderness for that.
Mm-hmm.
And so literally what you just lived out, God reminds you.
Yeah. And I'm such a firm believer that we are created in the image. I mean, that's scripture. Okay. So we're created in the image of God. But I think very specifically of there are aspects of the Father's personality and of his character that are more prevalent in you, Jody, than they are in me. And there's different things like everybody's got a fingerprint, like we resemble our Heavenly Father in some way. And so if you can ask the Lord, like that person who kind of pushes my buttons, show me, God, you in them, because they're made in your image.
Yes.
It changes for me. That's been such a game changer. And the Lord has, one of the things that really happened has been very sweet about this is somebody that's really gruff, that I struggle with just kind of their personality, is that the Lord has revealed to me pieces of their heart when they pray.
Oh,
And I feel like, when
yes.
somebody prays, you really get a window into what matters to them. And I'm like, thank you, Lord. I see it. I see you in them. And I'm so grateful that you showed me that. It changes things.
I love that.
So if I could can I switch gears to a different thing that makes me
Yeah.
anxious? Okay. Because I
Yeah,
want to ask you,
absolutely.
I want to ask you about this one for reals, Jodes, because this is an area of your strength and my weakness. And so it makes me anxious, but I don't think it's something that'll make you anxious. Okay.
Oh. This is interesting.
It's hospitality.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
you are hospitality, like all the Christmas plates, homemade cookies, homemade bread bowls for your homemade soup that you know, like killed the chicken and made the broth and like all the things, right? And I'm like, I'm so glad you're here. Here's a charcuterie board that I picked up on my way home. Just pull the plastic off the top. All the crackers and, you know, nuts and olives are in there. And, you know, I don't know, like we're going to just throw some burgers on the grill or something. So like, it makes me anxious when I think about specifically like cooking for people and meals and having lots of people in our home, which a lot of that will be happening in the next few weeks.
Right.
Do you get anxious about that?
So, well, okay. Yes and no,
Okay.
truthfully. So it used to be when I was younger, I used to get very anxious. I loved having people over and I always wanted people to feel very welcome in our home. That was always important to both Johnny and I. But I did get anxious. My house would need to be perfectly clean. I would mop the floor before I had 40 people tromping through. Ridiculous.
Right. I mop the floor
ridiculous.
after they leave. That's me.
Yes, that's what I do now.
Oh, God.
And so, and, you know, when the kids were younger, it was, you know, a little bit more like, you know, store-bought things that were heated out kind of thing. That all worked. I still enjoyed having people over, but I would get a little bit anxious about that. Where now I just love to have people over. And so I mop the floor when people leave.
Mm-hmm.
And if the house is not perfect, it's okay because they didn't come to see a perfect house. They came to be together with people. And so I can get past that. And I don't like clutter around. So you're not going to see like clutter around, but I don't stress over it the way that I used to stress over it. And so that takes the anxiety out of it.
That's good.
And so that's a real gift. And so I think if I'm not rushed and I can prep in a relaxed way and I can do things from scratch. That's the way I like to cook. If I can do all that in a relaxed way, then I do not get anxious about it.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm running late or I don't have the things I need, then that's where I might get anxious.
Yeah. I think the thing that makes me most anxious when it comes to having people over is, okay, this is a revelation right now. It's just coming to me.
Yeah.
But like God created me. One of the ways in which I think his fingerprint is on my heart and I'm made in his image is that the most important thing on the planet to me is to have a meaningful connection.
Yes.
And if the part that makes me anxious about having people over is I've got to think about all the things and I just want to be like, I just want to be with you. And I don't want to have to think about all the things like the rolls having to come out of the oven or whatever. And so, Because even as you were talking, I was thinking, you know, all my kids are coming home, like Bryn's coming home from the Czech Republic and Grant and Eden and Selah are coming from Australia. And in that scenario, we're all in the kitchen. And I'm like, hey, E, do you want to make the bread? And Bryn, do you want to make the vegetables? And Dre, you want to make the corn casserole? And, you know, whatever, like everybody's got a job to do. Haven's got something. And we're all working together. And so I don't feel like I'm like people are sitting in the living room and they're chit-chatting and I'm in the kitchen and I'm fussing.
Yes. And you're missing out.
Yeah.
Right. So a couple things in that. One, I would say like Thanksgiving now, we used to like cook and then everybody would bring something over. And now I just say, come over and let's cook together. And so we do that because I enjoy that process. Last year we had kind of a big group. And so it got a little chaotic trying to manage all the moving pieces. But typically that's a really fun thing for me. I've got Lauren and Kellen and Bailey and Kelly, and we've got everybody in the kitchen and it's really, really fun. So, so that is a different kind of scenario. One thing I would say to you, I think hospitality is sometimes viewed as like, oh, the homemaker that makes everything from scratch or something like that. To me, hospitality, somebody can make everything from scratch and I can feel very unwelcome in their home.
Ooh, that's true, Jody.
Right. And so far more important to me is that meaningful connection. So if everything's not perfect, but we get to, you know, I don't know, have a cup of coffee and sit down and have a real conversation.
Yeah.
That's a gift. That's hospitality. I used to be so concerned about the things that I don't think I was being hospitable. I think my things were nice and it was laid out nice and all that stuff. But I'm not a display person. My friend Kelly Stram, like beautiful. She sets a beautiful table. It's all the centerpiece. Like my centerpiece at Thanksgiving might be a pumpkin I happen to have by the front door, and it's now sitting in the middle of my table. Like I do not do all the. I'll have a tablecloth and I'll have cloth napkins, but like it's not going to be. And I'll have the good dishes.
It's not going to be the lantern with the leaves spread about with a few walnuts and a cornucopia with fruit falling out of it or whatever.
My goodness, that would stress me out.
Yeah, that would stress me out too. Thanks. That's helpful.
Yeah. And I think you're a great hostess. And so, because I always love to be at your house and feel like we can be cozy and comfy. And that's what I think hospitality is about. So, and I think the other thing is we need to pay attention to what makes us anxious. So, and that's what I did like with the Thanksgiving thing. Like, what part of this do I enjoy? I enjoy being together. So I'm just going to invite everybody to come over and we'll cook together, because that's actually what I enjoy. Being together in the kitchen. And that was one of the things about buying this house. I wanted an island. I wanted space. I wanted it to be connected to our family room. And that's what we have in this house. And so, you need to know yourself well enough to know what brings life, what helps you be hospitable, and lean into that. So if picking up a charcuterie board on the way home is the way to do it, then do that for sure.
We have a Christmas tradition, which I love. We've done this, oh my gosh, for so many years. I don't even know how it got started, but we usually have 2 Christmas Eve services and they're kind of spread apart. And so in between, so during the day, I put on a big pot of chili, and then I will make a charcuterie board or something of the sort, and then we have Christmas cookies for dessert. So it's very, very simple, but we just will spontaneously ask people over, which now it's a tradition. So it's like, less spontaneous. Like we know we're going to have people
are planning
over
on it.
Yeah. There are certain people who are like, we're coming for chili, right? Like there was one year during COVID, we had someone with COVID in our house. And so there was no chili. And we had somebody call us and they were like, so what time should I come over for chili? And we're like, oh, so sad. Like we have COVID. Eden had COVID. Like, sorry, we got COVID in the house. And he's like, yeah. Okay. So what time do you think we should show up? Like, I don't think you should. I really don't. He's like, oh, cool. This is a young adult, right? And he's like, he came with his parents for so many years. He's like, cool. So it's just me then. Buddy, we love you so much, but you probably shouldn't come.
We have COVID. What part of this do we not compute here?
We love him.
That's so funny. Yes, of course. So, and you know what? I'm just going to say even if hostessing, even putting a pot of chili on or something like that makes you anxious, tell people, grab your dinner on the way over and we'll all sit down and eat together. Like I've done that too. On a Sunday afternoon, we're going to have the whole family over and it's like, hey, pick up your lunch on your way over, because I work on Sundays.
Sure.
And we'll all sit by the pool and it'll be great. So there's all kinds of ways to hostess. So if that's something that makes you anxious, like figure out how to do it in a way that doesn't create that angst to it, because it should be a fun time.
That's really good.
Yeah. Yeah. So one of the other things I put down for that can make us anxious in the holiday season specifically is that we have very specific expectations.
Yes.
And so it's not even disappointment when those expectations aren't met, but an anxiousness about them wanting them met, or feeling like we might need to meet those expectations for tradition, or like this guy who wants some chili at your house. And right? Like there might be expectations of other people, but but it might also be our expectations, right? And so,
that's so good.
That can, that I know those kind of things can cause me anxiety. And so I have to kind of really evaluate, is this what's valuable? What's important here? And do I really need to do this?
That's so good. And expectations kind of, I think, bleeds into every area. So like it bleeds into hosting, it bleeds into gift buying. And
yes.
Are we, because like, should we get something for so-and-so, or so-and-so get something for us, but like, just making sure you have something. Like that's the thing, not so much the people that I love and know, but just kind of figuring out, and maybe financially it's really stressful. And so you're like,
Yes.
because a lot of years, like when the kids were little, come on, it was me. I did a lot of baking. And we gave
Yep.
away banana bread, or we gave away
Yes.
banana muffins, or we gave away
Me
Christmas
too.
cookies, that sort of thing. Yeah.
Because you can do that cost effectively and bless a lot of people.
Yeah.
And so we did that too. I mean, truly, I did that up until COVID. And then I started getting some store-bought goodies that we like to our neighbors. We'd drop it on the door of each of our neighbors and things like that. But I used to always do only baked goods.
Mm-hmm.
Or I would do like caramel popcorn and bag that up or something like that. I have some friends who do, like Kelly Stram always makes us this
she's like a third personality. She's a personality on, Real Sisters Real Talk, because she makes it into the conversation so frequently. We love it.
But yes, but she makes this like Christmas well, it's not even a Christmas thing. It's like a toffee with chocolate on top, kind of.
Oh, come on.
And we call it Christmas crack. Like that. We love this stuff. It is so good. It's really like you just can't get enough. And so she drops that off. And I have another friend, Mary, who always brings the white chocolate bark with the crushed up candy canes in it. So good. Like the things that we just look forward to because we know we're getting them, and these ladies make it every single year, and it's like, oh, it would be really sad if they ever quit making
this. You know what I really, really look forward to, and I'll buy it if I have to, I'll go buy it, but I hope somebody makes for me every year, because I've never tried to make it. I don't know, but is banquette, homemade banquette.
I don't know what that is.
What?
No.
Are you serious? Okay,
you have to make it for me sometime.
Okay, I guess I have to figure out how to make it so I can make it for you. It is a Dutch pastry, and it's basically, in its simplest form, it looks like a long roll, it is a long roll, and it's got almond paste in the center and a flaky pastry on the outside.
Yes, I do know that. I did not know what it was called. I've only had it store-bought. It is heaven. It is heaven. Yeah. Dutch is a lot of the almond paste kind of stuff, and it's really good. I'm just going to say.
I don't want to know how many Weight Watchers points it is.
Oh my goodness. No kidding.
No.
Yeah. I'm sure it's caked with butter and everything else.
Well, just the paste itself, like the almond paste itself, has got to be insanely high in calories, but it's so worth it. It's so good.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. So
go ahead.
Gift giving can be stressful. That can create angst for sure.
Yeah. I think another thing is I am such a routine girl, and everything goes topsy-turvy over the holidays. Yes. Like my routine is just, it's hard to work out. It's hard to like do the things that are my normal routine over the holidays. And that can be anxiety inducing.
It can. Even your house, my house kind of gets a little bit turned up. So like I do throw some things out for like the fall. So I have some decorations out for fall kind of thing. And then for Christmas, like I have boxes of Christmas stuff, and I have my live Christmas tree in our den area. And then I have like a little fake tree that I put in the front room that kind of goes in the window. And I love my Christmas stuff. The day after Thanksgiving, man, my Christmas stuff is out, and I am redoing my house. I am doing the stairway, like all of it, get it done. But like as soon as Christmas is done, before New Year's, I'm sad to say, like I'm feeling anxious about the mess, and I want some order back in my house.
Yeah. That's really good. We had a Christmas tree one year when we lived in Iowa. We had a kitten, and we didn't know about kittens and Christmas trees. And this kitten would climb the tree, and there were so many days that we'd be out at a Christmas event or whatever, and we'd come home and the tree's laying in the middle of the living room floor, and we'd have to, put the tree back up. And we just did this over and over and over again. That was the year that the Christmas tree was on the curb by the end of Christmas Day.
Yes, fair enough. It was probably pretty dead by then too.
Yeah, it had really been through it, and I might have hoped that maybe the kitten was still in the tree when we pulled it out.
No,
I'm just kidding. It was tricky.
I guess. Yeah. We touched on just a few things here that bring angst. I just want to name it was a little bit lighthearted. I mean, true stuff, but we do recognize too, there's some real, could be some loss. And we're actually going to talk about that in a couple of weeks because grief can create a lot of anxiety in the holiday season. It's a very real thing. And so we just want to name that. And we are going to talk about that.
And, another element, not that we'll do a deep dive on this, but just to acknowledge it for what it is loneliness is real during the Christmas season and the holiday season too. Maybe expectations or hopes of what, that you would be in a romantic relationship during the holidays. And it seems like everybody's coupled up and, that desire of your heart has not been met yet, or other desires of your heart that have not been met, or the loneliness that I feel when I know my family's all together in California and I don't get to be there. Like there's different ways that loneliness shows up during the holidays too. And so, that can be anxiety inducing, even just thinking about what that's going to look like, New Year's Eve and what's that going to look like and all the things.
It's really good.
It kind of brings me full circle to where I started, in that most of my anxiety comes from feeling, when I try to picture an event without Jesus right there with me in it. And not as any kind of a flippant answer to what your heart is feeling, but there is a reality to the fact that God is with you. He's with us every moment, all of the anxious moments and the lonely moments. When we feel the most alone, we're not. One thing is for sure, we are thinking about you on the holidays and so grateful for the friendship that we have in walking out this life together and becoming like Jesus together. So whatever it is that makes you feel anxious, bring it to the Lord. Trust him with it. He's so good. He's going to be with you through every moment of this holiday season coming up. So we just want to remind you, we serve a real God and he really loves you.